Welcome to the KYCA PM show. Jason Zinzilieta in with you. Kind of in an interesting position right here because I'm on the board right now instead of being in front of the camera. But surely all of you can listen in on that. But anyway, it is a special 4 o'clock edition of the KYCA PM show, and today we are featuring the panel of all knowledge. So let's go ahead and bring everybody in. Whoa!
I don't eat meat.
Whoa!
Well, that sounded good.
Okay,
Hey, Jason,
well,
why
that's
don't we
live
start
radio,
by bringing
folks.
you
What can
in?
I say? So,
That was
all
like
right,
the
let's let me see if we can bring everybody in. Okay, guys, welcome to our panelists today. Hold on.
It's starting off as usual.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
Do we have the theme music, Jason?
No, because I'm a little bit trying to do 2 or 3 things here at once. So
Okay.
that's what can I say here?
Did you sweep the floors yet?
I'm working on it. I got to
All right.
clean the toilets first,
Okay.
and that comes after you guys get out of here. So
yeah, that's important.
I brought the trash bag. It's good.
I noticed that. All right, very quickly,
No,
let's
you
go
didn't
around
have
the
a trash
table.
bag. You brought a lobster bib you stole from Red Lobster last night.
Shame, shame, shame. Okay. Around the table we go. First, to my left, my virtual left, is Bob Roecker, The Bob Show. Thanks for letting us in on The Bob Show today.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, yeah, nice of you to have us.
Anytime. Very happy. Okay, and then virtually in front of me, of course, is Malcolm Barrett Jr. of the Malcolm in the Morning Show. Thanks for joining us there.
You'll regret this.
I'm sure I will. I already do. It's okay.
Okay. At
And-
least we're starting off on common ground.
There we go. And then, of course, to the corner, apart from my virtual spot, is the Dean of the Morning Coffee Group, and that would be Mr. Phil King. Mr. Phil King, I believe we are about to call you a word here. Is that right?
I've heard that's
The
coming.
the Red Lobster man.
Oh,
Garbage.
Yeah, you're the Red Lobster man. That's not a garbage bag. That's a Red Lobster bib.
that's what they called me the last time I spent the day water skiing on Saguaro Lake.
I got you.
Okay.
And now also, finally, our coming off the bench is Charlie Arnold. Charlie, thank you for coming in twice today.
I'm honored, I think.
Okay, yeah, you're going to wish you weren't. Bob, take the
these
meeting for a few minutes.
whippersnappers.
I'll be right back with you.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, long time no see,
I
Bob.
know. Yeah, it's good to have you guys here.
Hey, what was that joke you told like 3 months ago? We thought was so good.
I can't remember.
Okay.
It probably had something to do with.
Okay.
Oh, you'll
else.
tell it
Yeah.
again. It'll be like the first time
Yeah, exactly.
with this crowd.
Well, here we are, folks. Phil, just before the show started, you said that some of the polls are already closing.
Kentucky and Indiana just closed at 4 o'clock our time.
And
Okay.
NBC announced they're going to start releasing the exit polling information.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think I saw on Fox News that they're having a whole new thing other than exit polling. They've got some other way to measure what's been going on, and they're going to have a big introduction of it tonight on their show.
Good.
Another
So-
thing that's wrong.
Well, whatever that's going to be, I
Whatever
don't know. I don't
that's
know what
going
it
to
is,
be.
but it should be interesting.
Karnak. They've got Karnak on staff. now.
Charlie, have you been hearing anything?
Oh, man, all over the place. But, Malcolm, I got to ask you, when was the last time an exit poll was accurate?
Never. In my lifetime, I don't recall that an exit poll was accurate because if a lot of conservative voters are like me and I'm leaving and somebody asks me how I'm voting or voted,
Tell them it's none of
if
their business.
I don't tell them none of your business, I'm going to tell them just the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, at
Yeah.
least we're not in Dixieville Notch, where
Right.
clearly undecided.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally undecided.
Well, that's because they can be identified.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's
See?
only 6 of them, yeah.
Yep.
Well, before we get to the presidential one, let's talk a little bit about some of the senators' races. And one of the ones that comes to my mind is the Ted Cruz thing in Texas. And he's been on a lot saying, man, I'm in trouble. Things are looking bad. Can Ted Cruz lose his election
No.
in Texas?
No,
No.
he'll win it, but they spent $1 gazillion down there trying to beat him. They are deathly afraid of him. He is that good.
Yeah, he's really good. And, and that brings me to a thought about term limits. When you get a guy like Ted Cruz in the Senate, and he always does his homework, and he always knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
and he's he just speaks so well all the time. Why would you want to term limit a guy like that?
Well, and you can't have universally across the board because you really want to keep the good ones, the ones that actually do their homework, they're doing their job. He's true to the voters. That is the problem with arbitrary term limits. And we used to say we have term limits. They're called elections.
Yeah, they're called the voting box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and right now, 80% of the money being gambled on the election says Ted Cruz is going to win Texas.
Oh. Well, you should.
I
listen
won't
to-
ask where you're getting the
Well,
odds
as
and,
a Texas fan, I don't really believe.
But
I mean,
you
the
got-
80% is not a high confidence level for me.
But they're a good measure. People put their money out there because they expect they're going to win the bet. So
Well, and it's the same thing with the presidential bets right now. You got those numbers right now, Charlie?
I do.
What was the old one though about the World Series or the Super Bowl? And if one league won it, that meant one president was going to get elected.
Oh
and
yeah,
get
they
it
got
to-
Oh,
those
yeah.
kind of things
Remember
going
that?
on. Yes.
Well, ever since Kalshi got the approval to gamble on elections,
Right.
it's been pretty incredible to watch. But when you look at presidential, right now, Trump's at 58%.
It's pretty big.
And that's $280 million that's been wagered.
Holy mackerel.
Georgia reported 900,000 votes cast today and still counting.
Well, of
Wow.
course. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and Bob, you want to talk local. Maricopa County knew they were going to have 380,000 people come vote. And they're saying, oh, you need to have a plan. Be prepared to stand in line for hours. Why can't they get their voting
If you
centers
knew
square?
how many were coming, why didn't you prepare for it?
You should print that many ballots, and you really ought to have that much ink on hand and not run out
Well,
again.
most of your ballots should be pre-printed anyway. They buy them from a company who does this,
Yeah.
and there's inventory control on them.
Well,
Why do they need to print ballots at the polls?
Would they poor boy it and say we didn't have enough money to do what you guys are saying?
We need a bigger budget.
Well, of course, we always need a
We
bigger
need a
we
bigger
didn't know
budget.
there were going to be 380,000 people voting today until 2
But
weeks ago.
once they stop price
You know,
gouging
isn't
in
that
the
what's gonna
stores,
happen?
it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay, this could go on forever.
Oh, this is yeah.
Oh,
Does
government is here to fix all our problems. They're here to address it.
Does
Can you
anybody-
imagine any private business that operated like our governments do? How long would they be in business?
Now 6 weeks.
Tops.
Bob, go ahead.
I was just saying, does anybody at this table believe that grocery stores price gouge?
Oh,
At 1.6% profit margin?
I mean,
Really?
no, of course they don't.
No.
where
That's
does that come
ridiculous.
from? How does
It's
that
her-
get? How
it's
does that
her-
get into a presidential?
It's their excuse for covering up the inflation rate.
Which is really
Which is-
closer to 12.5% a year.
Yes.
In real terms, not the adjusted changes.
because
Yeah.
they pull stuff out of
Right.
the number that we all use.
Fuel and housing don't count.
Yeah.
Don't count because they really didn't go up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Let me
House
think about
prices
that.
in Arizona didn't go up at all. No.
Yeah, it's the real inflation rate if you measure it the way we did 20 years ago.
Carter's presidency, everything doubled in price in 4 years.
Right.
Because of the change of the way they count it, we've only gone up about 50%
Yeah,
under
okay.
this much.
When
Right.
that happens, so does the cost of things that the normal people buy ever go back to where it was before that happened?
No, because you have to eat the
currency's
inflation. It's gone and you can't recover it.
The lost buying power is gone forever.
Yeah.
You cannot regain that. You've already spent it. It's gone.
That's why gold is $2,700.
50%.
Last summer it was $2,000. A couple of years before that it was about $1,200.
50% increase since 2021.
Yeah.
If Harris and Biden were serious about addressing food prices, they would have addressed gas prices. It would have impacted the farmers and the transportation costs, which would have had a direct impact on the cost of food at the grocery
Well,
stores.
that's where
Well,
the higher gas prices create
they exclude the
transportation
cost.
costs.
They
Go ahead.
exclude the cost of fuel because they say that's built into the price of goods and services.
Yeah.
Is it built in the price of your goods and services?
No, but what I'm referring to
Or
is
moms driving kids to school, or
the
any of
price
those
you
things?
pay for a gallon of milk at the grocery store is directly impacted by the cost of fuel to produce it,
Yep.
to transport it.
It is so heavy because it's basically water. That is the bulk of the cost of milk.
Plus, we have to have fewer cows because,
Greenhouse, yes.
Oh,
Did you say cow bovine flatulence?
I did not, but I referred to it
Oh, okay.
obliquely.
I just thought of another question. What do you guys think is the biggest gaffe of this election? Because you came in here wearing a garbage bag,
Oh, I thought that was beautiful.
and the way he handled that, the way Trump handled that, we were talking before the show, was pretty close to genius.
Oh, it was.
How he dealt with that.
The Tuesday Trumpers were out today on the corner, as they have been for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside my office window,
Yes.
and they're wearing black trash bags.
Yeah.
I
I didn't have a black one. I'm sorry.
No, but you don't hang it like a bib. You
But-
cut a hole in it, put it over your body, and put armholes in it.
but the comedian who
That's a lot of work.
That's a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
the comedian who made the joke about Puerto Ricans,
Oh, yeah.
was that completely wiped out by the garbage comment? I mean, did you hear
Well,
anything after that?
Well, no, but
Did you happen to see one of his routines, one of his normal routines? That comedian, he's Don Rickles with an edge, a nasty edge. But
Don
he, but he
Rickles had a
atta-
pretty nasty
but
edge.
he
edge.
did. But he attacks everybody equally.
Yes,
which they never. This comedian.
He's
this
an equal
recent guy-
opportunity insulter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they nobody ever saw that.
Well, you couldn't remember the name of the comedian, much less the joke.
No, I can't remember.
Okay, guys, I'll tell you what, I'm going to call a timeout here.
Okay.
And we're going to take a quick break here on the News 1490 on the Panel of All Knowledge. I'll get diving in among you guys in just a few minutes.
where's
but
that ethereal voice?
Okay.
coming?
I wonder where that's coming from.
Ooh,
Okay,
kind of scared.
we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this. And we're back here on the KYCA PM show, the Panel of All Knowledge Special Election Night Edition, with all the knowledge you didn't know you needed and the things to know that you didn't know you wanted to. Okay,
Sure thing.
I'm trying to come up with stuff here.
Okay, Kamala.
Okay,
Oh, that good
Jason,
word
eye
salad.
contact is important. It's an important form of communication.
it is. I understand that. Now, allow me to say the following word salad over the next 3 minutes in answer to what you just said, Malcolm. In knowing that we needed to know what we now know, it's important to know that the knowledge that we know now is okay. I can go on for this all day, but I won't do that.
But I was raised in a middle-class family.
That's right.
Yes.
I think I have had more than enough of that, and I think the electorate has had more than enough of all of this. That's my thought right now. Okay, prediction tonight. Did we get into any predictions? I was a little busy in here.
No.
No, not really.
Okay, electoral count.
Oh, Malcolm, our expert, has spent the most of the day going over electoral
Most
maps.
of the week.
Okay, go ahead. Then Malcolm, you take the floor.
287, 251, Trump. Now, it hinges on taking Pennsylvania. Now, we could still conceivably get there, but I really think it's going to finish at 287, 251 Trump.
You got Virginia on the map? No, that's okay. That's gone.
I got Virginia blue.
Yeah.
Arizona, you got the left coast, the Pacific Northeast, you've got most of the Midwest or the Great Lakes states, Virginia, and if you look at the Electoral College maps since 2000, 2004, they're generally the same. The left coast, the Northeast, you got a smattering. We lost Colorado and New Mexico in 2004.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty consistent throughout.
And my personal thing, before I make a prediction, is when you look at those maps, that is the exact reason why the Electoral College is so important.
Critical.
Absolutely.
It's critical. And what are you hearing from the Democrats during this run for office?
Get rid of the Electoral College.
It would be a horrible thing for this country. Anybody's listening to this show right now, look it up, do some studying.
7 cities could determine the president
Yeah.
just with the popular vote in those 7 suburban areas.
If you lived in
urban areas.
if you lived in Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota,
Arizona,
Idaho,
New Mexico,
you would never
Colorado.
see,
You got
you
no
would
vote,
never
it
see.
Wouldn't matter.
No,
Nobody would
wouldn't matter.
campaign. You would, maybe we could be grateful for that.
You wouldn't have. Well, considering what this campaign went like and the 18 minutes of commercials every hour,
Do you remember what the Reagan majority in the Electoral College was?
the re-election
All but
Yes,
Yes.
the re-election.
Pennsylvania, all but Minnesota
and D.C.,
and D.C.
which
Yeah.
D.C.
It was 3, and the election before that, I think it was 17.
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
Well, I think
That was kind of a
Nixon's
fun time.
Nixon's re-election was just as massive.
Mm.
Massachusetts.
How about when Goldwater ran? How bad was he beat?
Oh, he
Remember?
was. He was
It was just as bad.
Convincingly.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
a warmonger.
Yeah.
Arizona.
The girl with the daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That only aired one time, but all the news stations
Showed it.
repeated it for days.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
As a
was
young
only properly aired one time.
Yeah.
Bill Ayers dreamed that one up.
Rules for radicals.
Wow.
Well, you remember Trump's quote about, I met Putin. He's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's a Putin lumper.
Bill
Yeah.
Bill Moyers, not Bill Ayers.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Bill Moyers.
Well, all
Who
of a
later
sudden,
became.
Well,
you know,
anyway, when we were last time together, I predicted that Trump would get 280, at least 280 electoral votes, electoral
Okay.
college votes.
if it hinges
so I'm
on
sticking with that.
if it hinges on Pennsylvania,
Yes.
if that map's right, he loses, because Pennsylvania is a mess.
well, let's go back to 2016, and when Trump won 306 to 232.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2020, and the numbers were exactly reversed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly reversed. 232
Yeah.
to
And
306.
which states flipped?
Charlie, what do you think?
I think Malcolm's pretty much on the dot. And so does, by the way, the money. The money thinks that within 20 electoral votes either direction is where 56% of the money is.
Charlie's looking up what the gamblers are spending.
And by the way, I think gambling on the election, I don't like it. Personally, it bugs me. That's why I keep talking about it.
Yeah.
But I want to see. I don't trust exit polls. In my life, I don't think I've seen successful exit polls.
Right.
I'm looking for, where's that crystal ball? Yeah. Well, is it in the money? There's a lot of money on this election.
Well, John Stossel used to use the money all the time when he was making predictions and stuff. Remember him?
Yeah.
Under
Yeah.
John Stossel?
Well, I follow college football, and I always look at the money. I always look at the odds. I always look at
There
the
you go.
over-under. Never in my life have I bet, nor I intend to bet, at a college football game. But I really pay attention where the money is.
Yeah, I'm looking at your two maps, and I'm looking at what switched on those two elections,
Right.
and it was Georgia and Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And those are where the problems are today.
Sure.
Yep.
Major problems.
Big
There's
problem in Pennsylvania.
Well, let's not
problems
forget.
all over the
Let's not forget Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona.
Well, yeah.
Now, can I
Slow
share with
down.
you guys, because I'm the only one that voted in person today.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so I went to yavapivotes.gov.
Mm-hmm.
Great resource. I was able to click on voting centers, and it told me how long the wait at each place was. I normally go Park Avenue, Copper Basin.
Right.
That was a 20-minute wait. Yavapai College was under 10. So
I have been following that all day, just clicking on it. It's a live map updated every 5 minutes where if you're thinking about going to vote center, log on to yavapai.votes.gov. It'll show all the polling places. Click, and you can see the waiting time.
Yeah.
And
It's an amazing resource.
Last-
Michelle Burchill, thank you. You've done a
yes.
stupendous job.
Yes.
How many
It couldn't be better.
How many voting places do we have in the
a lot,
A bunch.
a bunch.
Okay.
At least 15.
I think it's 25 to 30.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Because
Oh.
even the far reaches, but nowhere in the county is the wait longer than 20 minutes. To
20
vote.
minutes is the longest wait.
Georgia was by state law was to close early voting polls on Friday. They extended that through the weekend in violation of their own state law.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
okay.
Well, some judge.
Pennsylvania last week, early voting polling places had 5 and 6 hours wait because they only had 2 staffers in the polling place. They were sending people home saying, go home. And they closed at 5 o'clock because it's an early voting thing. Anybody in line got sent home. If you got sent home, would you show back up the next day?
No. Does money fix this problem?
Well,
how
what
do we
happens
fix
when you don't get enough people willing to work the polling place? What does that tell you? You're not paying enough money.
Was there some? I heard that some of them were afraid.
Well,
They were afraid, that people would get violent.
have you ever worked a polling
No, I
place?
have not.
Oh, yes.
I have.
Yeah, and
You can't
bored?
pay me enough to work it. You cannot
Have you-
pay me enough
Charlie,
to
have you
work
worked
it.
it?
I haven't worked it, but I always, when I vote in person, I walk in and I say thank you to every single person.
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank
and
you
today,
for being here.
every time there was a new voter, they celebrated, and everybody in line clapped.
Clapped.
Everybody was excited whenever it was announced that it's a new voter.
Yep.
Very
So all
good.
those Democrats in line celebrated, and other
well,
Democrats.
I want to go back to what you were talking. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago about our percentage in this county of how much,
Oh.
how many we vote, and how proud folks that are watching this show
Ought to
we
be.
should be with that issue. We got 1 minute before the break, the hard break. So do you want to hold off on that, because I think that's really something that we should talk about.
Well,
and at
about
least
the
feel
numbers,
good
and
about it.
how do we get that many registered voters with our population? It's unheard of.
Yeah,
Unless you're from whatever
Well,
notch,
good. It
Dixville,
could be.
Notch.
Dixville notch, where they've got 100% registration.
Yeah, well,
Well, could
100% turnout.
Yeah, 100% turnout, 100% registration
Could
with a
it be a high-
population of 15, and the others are under 18.
High percentage of military
No.
cause that to
Oh,
be
there.
better.
That was one of the problems. North Carolina forgot to send out the ballots to the military.
We're
the
old.
early ballots.
We're old and
What in the
not a
world?
lot of children
Yeah.
in the house.
Forgot.
Okay, we're going to take a break here on KYCA. All right, guys, take a breath, and we will be back with the panel of all knowledge after this. And that signals the halfway point of the panel of all knowledge. Yes, it is halfway done, folks. Aren't you glad? If only the campaign were this long and no longer. Charlie Arnold has joined the group today, coming off the bench. Thank you very much, Charlie. I was very happy to see that you were 98.4% sure that you were going to be here.
Me too. I'm always glad when I can show up.
How much did you put down on that? Elections are enough of a gamble. Why would you gamble on them?
Well, I know, but
Gamble on anything. It was higher my percentage.
I got a good tip at downtown. Anyway, okay. So I guess the big thing is now the National is going to be done to death. And by the way, we are going to have live coverage of all the returns, live coverage all night long of election returns beginning at 6 o'clock here on KYCA. And if you're not too sure about that, you can always just tune a little bit over to the left and go to 1450 KNOT. That's our new sports station. They're going to have sports talk all night tonight. I'm sure they're going to talk about the election a little bit, but for the most part, it's just going to be sports. And for the rest of us, we're into the sport of politics. So, guys, how does the Arizona legislature turn out after tonight?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
One Democrat majority.
Where?
Vote of one. There's an outside chance it'd be here, but it's one down in
The Senate or the House?
House seat. There's one down in like Pinal County somewhere that's going to flip. The Senate's potential, maybe one which would bring it into a tie.
Okay.
I haven't even followed the state balance of power.
You've been too busy playing with your maps, Mel.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And the odds.
But the House could easily have a one-vote Democrat majority here,
Okay.
in which Katie gets everything she wants.
Well, you've got to have at least a split legislature on both sides of the House for that to happen.
No.
Yeah, well, Bohica.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Malcolm, for that. Anyway, but
Some people understand it. It's fine.
I know.
Yeah, kind of like Dee Dee Mao.
Okay. That's enough.
Nothing
You're
wrong with
losing
Dee Dee
points
Mao.
like crazy.
All right.
You know, I've got to be in another room. I've got so many reams of paper on Malcolm here. That
I am out of reach, but
I thought you were speaking.
I
from
have
on
all your
high.
reams of paper, Jason. Remember that.
I know. Okay, very quickly, what's the takeaway from the election in general if Trump wins? What are we going to see over the next 75 days?
First burning car is going to be tonight in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Either way, actually.
Yes.
Either way.
Yeah.
All right, if Trump wins, and let's say that it is a decisive win, and by 10 o'clock tonight we are going to bed knowing that he is the winner, okay? What happens the next 75 days with the Biden-Harris administration?
Well, the first thing I would see is a renewed effort and a November surprise, and they are not going to cooperate with the Trump transition team.
I also thought, and this is a silly thought really, I suppose, but I thought they might invoke the 25th Amendment just so they could say they had the first female president of the United States before the end of their term.
And that may happen in either case.
Yeah, we've speculated on that for several months back
Right.
and forth
Yeah.
for whether they'd pull that one. I mean, if they can throw out their own primary system and pick a candidate
exactly.
in their smoke-filled room who went from being a 28% favorable joke to being the second coming in 48 hours,
But
they
again,
can do anything.
But then that, of course, would remove all doubt
Yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah.
about her
I think-
competency to serve as
Yeah,
commander-in-chief.
I think you'd likely see price controls and a couple of other things maybe like that they can do by order before the Congress convenes in January.
All right, then here's an interesting concept I want to throw out there. We're going to make Kamala president. Now, this is if Trump wins, so that she does not have to sit there and certify the vote in January.
Yeah,
So who does it? Is it the Senate pro tem?
it would be, yes.
Yes, the Senate
in
pro
the
tem
absence
steps
of the vice president, the Senate pro tem or the Senate president could do it.
Not
So-
the Speaker of the House?
No, no.
Nope.
No, he's
Oh,
a
they-
member of the
the
Senate.
Senate.
They would be.
Second in charge.
So, Jason,
Yes, sir.
here it comes.
Okay.
Here comes the big bomb.
Okay.
Supreme Court occurs if Trump decisively wins, when he decisively wins today,
Yes.
we will see by the end of the year them push someone to the Supreme Court. There will be a resignation and there will be somebody put in.
I just don't see. I don't see Congress convening just to do that.
It's going to take a lot longer to affirm that.
Yeah.
No, but
Doesn't
they
the order go president, vice president, speaker of the House?
Yes, but
Yes.
the Senate certifies the electoral vote.
Okay, so
Correct.
the Senate pro tem
Yeah.
person,
Right.
which would be McConnell? No, which would be what's his
Schumer.
Schumer's the same member of the
No,
same party.
Yeah.
It's the majority
Is-
party.
I understand
No,
that,
it's
but
the
I
president.
thought
It's the
somebody
whip,
else
the
was.
Senate
No,
whip.
no.
Okay.
President
Hold
pro
on.
tem of the Senate, who is
It's not
usually who's not Schumer.
No, it's not Schumer.
Schumer's the majority leader.
The
Right.
the current president pro tempore of the United States Senate is Patty Murray.
Yeah.
Patty Murray.
Remember when it was Carl Hayden?
I remember.
Most of our listeners being newer in Arizona than you and I,
they did. Yeah.
Carl Hayden had less of a brain going than Joe Biden does.
But didn't he
And-
live in a flour mill in Tempe?
Yeah, the original family did.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Still there, the
Hayden's
silos.
Ferry.
Well, he gave us
right
the
there.
CAP.
Well,
I mean, he laid the groundwork for the
what?
Central
Yeah,
Arizona
they
project.
fought it out for years.
Yeah.
What really happened is Jack Williams, as governor, threatened to do it on Arizona's own nickel. At which point the Congress caved and
Yeah.
passed it.
Okay.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah. I
All right.
do.
Well, all right. We're going to have to take a break here on the panel of all knowledge. Obviously, everybody debating on who knows what and and who knows what. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
And Jason Zinzilieta speaking from the cloud.
Yes, I am.
Speaking from the closet.
I'm in the closet today, and it's just how it is. I'm on the control board right now. So here's some interesting stuff very quickly before we go any further. A couple of things that I am picking up from Twitter. First, from Charlie Kirk, as of about 2 or 3 minutes ago. So far, what we can glean from Indiana and Kentucky, and it is admittedly limited, we are going to outperform 2020 in those states by a few points, and the rural vote is holding steady even while turnout in urban centers is down nationwide.
That's a great thing. That's good news.
Urban vote down nationwide is a big positive sign.
Big positive. Another item of news from Twitter from ex-user Eric Dougherty. A report, an after-work surge of mail votes is now occurring in gigantic form in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and other eastern battlegrounds.
That's also good news.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. And ABC News is warning of severe cracks in the Democrat voter base in Michigan. Traditional Democrat strongholds such as Wayne County are now reportedly seeing huge amounts of black and Arab voters jumping to Trump.
Yes, that's correct. That's been coming for a few days now. The Muslims are unhappy with Harris. They think Trump would do more to end the war. And in fact, one of the Black Lives Matter leaders, the leadership of Black Lives Matter, came out yesterday or today and said he's voting for Trump because he's been voting Democrat for years and they've done nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did anybody
That would put Trump at 302.
Did
if he takes
anybody
Michigan.
hear what Trump said about who he's going to make his first call to if he gets elected?
President of Mexico.
He's going to call the President of Mexico.
Oh,
And tell her that, go on,
No, go ahead.
and tell her that if she doesn't do something about closing the border ASAP stat, the 25% tariff on all Mexican
He's going to go up
imports,
by 25% until she does.
Which includes escorting the Honduran immigrants from their southern border through the length of their country
Yep.
to the U.S. border.
Yeah, well, he also said that she's got to close that border also. The one from the south into Mexico.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, right.
they
So-
tried to
so-
they tried to close that one, I think it was Guatemalan border where they stormed the gates and tore them down
Right.
in front of the armed troops who didn't fire.
Yeah.
Water
That
cannons.
was a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Water
Okay.
cannons, just spray them off.
That's
the wall.
water cannons work fine, particularly if the water is dyed red.
Other news from X and Twitter right now that I'm going to report very quickly. There is a picture about apparently a half an hour ago from the campus of Howard University, where the Harris Victory Party is supposed to be.
Yeah.
The line is short and no one is there.
Indeed.
The minute Taylor Swift shows up, it'll pack the house.
Yes.
There you go. And just in also about an hour ago from CNN, releasing exit polling data prompting Chris Wallace to say it would be, quote, a miracle if Harris would win, quote, with this kind of headwind.
Whoa.
Interesting, but
From
take it
Chris
with
Wallace.
From Chris Wallace.
in conventional terms, it would be a miracle if Kamala Harris could win with this kind of headwind, according to the polls. There you go.
Okay, let's shift real quick and talk about the Senate.
Go ahead.
Any big surprises in the Senate? Upsets in the Senate? Does is that his name? Beat Tesler? Is that his name in Montana?
Montana.
Because I heard that he was going to win.
It's close, but he should win. Yeah.
But then I heard that that it was shifting right here at the end. So I got confused about what was going on.
We
in
don't believe the
Montana.
polls nationwide, but we'll believe them in Montana.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
Montana's full of good folks.
Yeah, all 8 of them.
Yeah.
No.
Well, okay. So what number are we going to end up with in the Senate, Charlie?
It's going to be close, but I think it's going to be 51-49 Republicans.
Oh,
Yeah. I would agree.
Not if Arizona has anything to say about it. We're about to make the biggest mistake of our life and embarrass ourselves.
I thought we did that last election.
Oh, Yeah, you can definitely make that case. Arizona,
and
of
we
all
nev-
places, elected the most anti-gun senator in the U.S. Senate.
And we've got Kirsten Sinema saying, "Do you miss me now?"
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, but we'll miss her if Ruben wins.
Oh
Well-
my goodness!
Yeah.
What a disaster!
Oh,
Yeah.
Professional
He's so-
hack.
Yep.
Can you
totally.
imagine
Well, he's,
a father-to-be serving his divorce papers within a week of the birth of their first child, so he can move in with his Washington girlfriend?
who's a top-notch lobbyist in
Yes.
D.C. Yeah, and who he married.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the
they
only
say
reason-
character counts,
Yeah,
really.
and the only reason the Gallego family is in Arizona is because they're out of Chicago and moved here on orders from the Democrat Party when Kate, who is now mayor of Phoenix, was hired to head the Kerry campaign in Arizona in 2004. They've been there ever since.
Who is a nice Jewish girl from San Francisco?
Yeah.
End of the day, his policies are not good for Arizona.
They are
Period. End of
terrible.
story.
No, he
Terrible.
wins.
That is it. in a nutshell.
He sat there abetting this, and now he's going to fix
Oh,
it.
yeah,
It-
he's going to fix the border, having spent 10 years in the House doing nothing.
Here's an interesting thing that I happened to see. Robert De Niro yesterday went on a rant,
Oh, yeah.
and he was reading something, and there was a small group behind him, and guess who was standing right behind Robert De Niro?
The brick man.
John Kerry.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Lurch.
Did he fly there on his private plane?
I don't know where he came from, but he was standing right, well, just to his left. He was standing there, and I thought, oh my gosh, there he is. You know, the guy that ran for president of the United States, standing right behind Robert De Niro, saying horrible things, justified. He's just ranting, and there he is. We
Did
have lost.
he F-bomb it again?
He
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna call a break here real quick because we've got to take our final break of the hour. I'm gonna read this very quickly from CNN. Exit poll: 7% of voters enthusiastic about the current state of the country. 43% dissatisfied. 29% angry.
Whoa.
That's the exit poll from CNN.
Well, that's positive news also.
There
Well,
you go.
29% angry could apply to both sides at this point.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, we're going to take our last break. We'll be back with the panel after this. And we're back one more time with the panel of knowledge here on KYCA. My thanks to Malcolm Barrett Jr., Phil King, Bob Roecker, and of course Mr. Charlie Arnold coming in off the bench and having a 98.6% chance of coming in. We're glad that the odds were with you today, Mr. Arnold.
Me too, and we do not have to have a recount.
Yes.
May the odds be with you, Luke.
Well, I'm only about 80% here anyway.
Well,
Yeah, but that's pretty
well, that's
good,
true.
Mel.
that's
You
a
know.
vast improvement.
Yeah.
And just for that, I'm going to give you 5 points. That brings you up to minus 872. So,
Losing body parts doesn't count as percentage.
Oh, I thought it did.
Yeah, it increases the percentage of the brain.
No,
okay.
of course
so
it does. My blood flow's better.
the only thing I want to consider honestly is a Trump victory, and things are starting to look in that direction. Though you don't count your chickens, of course.
We're up to 302.
We're up to 302. Okay, we'll hold you to that.
You're counting Michigan.
Yes.
No.
What is perhaps with
Although
a Trump,
the unions turned on her too, and that's important.
well, there you go. What is the big takeaway long term from Trump? And also, at age 42, is J.D. Vance ready to step up to lead the party in 4 years?
I thought he just turned 40.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry,
would
40,
say-
let's say 44.
I would say enthusiastically yes.
I've been really impressed with him as well.
He's quick on his feet.
I have. He's-
How important to this election was Joe Rogan?
Well, he was last minute.
As not a Joe Rogan fan, I don't feel qualified to comment.
Yeah, I never pay any attention to him, but he did come out and endorse
Yeah,
Trump
and
this morning.
3 million
So,
strong.
so did Megyn Kelly.
So did Megyn Kelly last night.
That was a shocker.
Yep.
When my wife heard
not
that, she
really.
said, "What?"
I'll tell you this, with Rogan, somebody with 40 million people having watched the Trump interview, and then he interviewed J.D. Vance, which was a good interview.
Yes.
Somebody in New York who's in the ad agency said this was the equivalent of a $100 million ad buy for Donald Trump. That was the power of the Rogan podcast.
I don't know. Pretty impressive number.
Well, it is, I suppose.
And what role in today's election did Peanut play?
Oh,
Oh boy.
the squirrel peanut.
I
Peanut
think
the squirrel.
It might have played a role.
It actually,
Ticked me off.
it was interesting. PETA and the Sierra Club both came out very critical of the government in that action,
hallelujah.
since they saved poor Peanut and then took him out and killed him.
Right. We're
Yeah.
going to save him to kill him.
Yeah. And the raccoon.
Is that
Those are
any
raccoons.
relationship to the abortion issue?
Oh, it's similar, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so looking ahead to a Trump administration, very quickly,
Okay.
if he's got 4 years and all goes well, how many more seats on the Supreme Court is he going to get? One at least.
2.
2?
Yeah,
I don't know if he can. I mean,
definitely one, unless the Democrats pack
one,
it.
but like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the last holdout. There's no mandatory retirement for Supreme Court
Can't
justices.
let go.
So
No.
No.
Yeah, but if Vance does not continue and he doesn't really show that he can lead the next generation of the party, then the smart play is for that to occur. No matter what, the
very
pressure is
interesting.
there for it to occur.
Well, Clarence Thomas might decide to retire under a Republican administration and Senate,
correct.
but it's going to require the Senate for that to happen.
So Trump's got 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get another Senate election in 2 years.
Right.
I think
Sadly, not here.
I think the biggest problem that Trump's going to have right away is the exporting of the immigrants, or the illegals.
No.
It's going to create a horrible situation
Well,
in our country.
I think you're going to see a backing off of what is practical.
Imagine if the Democrats get the House, the first thing they do is impeach him again.
Yeah, right away.
We'll start
Start-
in.
start
We'll
the new
start in with
impeachment.
that all over again, and he'll get nothing. He gets nothing done. So.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts. You've got 1 minute. Go.
Prop 140 is the biggest disaster that's ever been on a ballot in this state.
Well, we never solved the dilemma between
130.
133 and 140
Yeah, if they both
if
pass.
they both pass.
It's not good.
Yeah,
It's a disaster.
Yes, it's confusing.
And 140 puts the 2 top vote getters on the general election ballot, and those are very likely, as always, to be the same party. That's what happened in Alaska, where they're trying to overturn it today.
Single party
And
rule for either party
and
is
California.
is bad governance.
Correct.
Well, here's the good news, though. Next week, Monday, Tuesday and Thursday morning, you can tune in, and maybe we'll have almost the final counts across the country.
I would
Tuesday
be surprised
afternoon
if we have it by Thursday.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, that is going to do it. Thanks, everybody. Happy Election Day to all of you. And tune in beginning at 6 for live, continuous coverage of election results. Arizona results come in at 8 o'clock, and we'll bring them to you live here on the News 1490. Happy Election Day. Bye-bye.